Am I audible to all of you? आप हम ये सुन सकते हैं? और दूसरा ये पूछना था कि all of you are comfortable with English?
Yes, sir.
ये नहीं कि मेरी अंग्रेजी बहुत अच्छी है, लेकिन हिंदी उससे भी खराब है। I begin by expressing my regret and seeking apology of all the persons who need to be addressed on this occasion. Madam Principal, the distinguished speakers who would be participating in the symposium, the guests present here, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear student friends, you must be wondering how the students can become my friend. The reason is very simple, that after having spent so much of time in law, I still consider myself to be a student of law, because it is a subject which I firmly believe nobody can say I have mastered. As a matter of fact, I was a very, very unwilling entry to law. I wanted to be in the army because I belonged to a place called Tezpur, which was the only city in India which had been evacuated by the government of India during the Chinese aggression. So know what one feels to be displaced. But as the luck would have it, the Chinese withdrew. And even today, it's debatable as mystery why the Chinese went back. But we had always been under the awe of the army and thought of them as a colossus who would always protect us and our properties. Now coming to the subject of the seminar, which is not only interesting but very important for our society today and the world as a whole. I would say I am beholden to all of you for the warmth that you have exuded, the love and affection that you have showered, the courtesy that you have extended, the generosity that you have exhibited. Before I start, there are a few caveats. You might have seen I came with this dark glasses, which is generally not very appropriate to come to a room. Actually, it's not a dark, it's not a sunglass or a goggles as such. It's also numbered. The only thing is the color, because I can't bear the light. So I was coming with these specs, but when I came here, I found it's very, very shiny day and people will be waiting outside. So I have to maybe a minute or two stand on the sun. So that's why I put it on, and I had not realized that I had walked in with the sunglasses. So that is really apology. Please don't misunderstand me. It's not to show my style. The other reason is that I'm very much moved by meeting someone who comes from the family of Shaheed Bhagat Singh. And when I saw in the papers which have been just furnished to me, a letter pad which has Shaheed Bhagat Singh Study Center, I thought it would be unbecoming of me as an Indian if I don't scribble something on this. So I have, if I may borrow the words of, the famous words of, I'm forgetting the name of the gentleman who used to be private secretary to Mrs. Gandhi, Haskar, P. N. Haskar. These are my stray words, thoughts, and I will try to weave them and try to present a complete picture before you in my own humble way and with the very limited capacity that I have. One more thing before I come to the subject. There are many things before I come to the subject, including the fact that when my biodata was being read out and I was being in a way praised, I would not say I was humbled, I was rather surprised. Are all these qualities mine? I don't really know. There was a young boy who was coming from a village to a city like Bombay to appear for an interview for service, looking for a job. The young man traveled whole night. He was prepared for the interview, so he went running to a barber shop nearest to the railway station and asked him to give him a shave and said, "Bas, tufan mein ki tarah jaldi se feel." He was very tired, he dozed off, and in the meanwhile the shaving was over. So when the barber woke him up, he looked at himself on the mirror. Then he found that the beard is left somewhere here, somewhere there. He said, "ये क्या कर दिया?" बोला, "सर आपको पता नहीं, तूफान में छोटे मोटे स्टेशन नहीं मिलता है." Now the subject that I am finding, these are subjects which are of very vital importance. So it's not something that one can just hurriedly get over it and finish it and go away. Each of the topics that you have has a meaning, a significance, an importance, which in the scenario that we have in India and the world as a whole are something which we cannot avoid. If we avoid, maybe even democracy in the manner in which we understand would be in peril one day. Ladies and gentlemen, let's try to understand as to what law means. There are many definitions and very difficult definitions of law as far as jurisprudence or legal theory is concerned. But you will appreciate that law generally means the norms of governance of the society. What rights or obligations a husband will have towards his wife, or what rights or obligations the wife will have as far as the husband is concerned. How one neighbor will conduct himself vis-a-vis another neighbor. How the members of a family shall behave or conduct themselves. Who decides? It is eventually the society that. And these are the norms of governance. When our action is according to the norms of the society, we call it legal. Where it is in breach of those norms, we call it illegal. Today we make legislation, we may pass orders, we may pass even executive instructions. But there was a time there was no law. Because human beings were not even properly cladded. Are you trying to say that no law existed those days? Because the norms of governance of the society were still there. Assuming those days that there was no written law. A man finding a woman very attractive wanted to grab her. And maybe even sexually exploit her or sexually abuse her. Imagine a situation, because there was no law. Could she have resisted? Would she have said no? It is here that the human rights come in. Because if an individual has to live with dignity, then we must say that he has the human rights. Because the human rights, in short, will mean that a man is born with all those rights which must be made available to him and which must be treated to have been given to him or inherent in him so far as this dignity is concerned. So if the women's dignity demanded that yes, he has a right to say no, no matter whether there was a law, there was no law, there was written law or no written law, she still had a right, and that's called human rights, of saying no. That is why I would say, in my humble opinion, human rights will not depend on the mercy of the government or on the making of the law. It is far more important for a human or civilized society. If a society has to live and survive as a civilized society, we will have to grant human rights to the individuals concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, you will understand that there is a difference between living and existing. A society may exist, but it may not live. Say, for instance, I just exist. But if I have to live, I must have feelings. I must feel pain where pain is required to be felt. I should not be emotionless. If there is a reason to be happy, I must feel happy. It is not that I would not or I should not feel happy. So those human feelings are required, and required for the purpose of making human rights meaningful. I'll try to make you understand by citing some examples. Examples are facts, they're not some kind of a story. In a particular city, some people demonstrated before the secretariat of the state capital, the building, demanding certain rights. With the neighbors in the area, who were the residents there, some kind of quarrel took place. Maybe some abuses were hurled or pelting of stone took place. Eventually the scene turned very ugly, and they were chased by the neighbors. One of the girls in this crowd was disrobed. Not that she was stopped and disrobed, just people kept pulling, with the result that she was not almost, she was factually naked. And the television, the conscious keeper of our society, he started showing that naked lady. And the television also showed that people were clicking photographs with the help of their mobile, not for the purpose of reporting to the police, for the purpose of having fun and enjoyment. How much that lady must have felt. And assuming instead of a lady it would have been a man, I don't think the feeling would have been any different. And a PIL came before us that this court should take cognizance. I asked the advocate, could it not have been done by the magisterial courts? Mind you are students of law, or maybe political science, but this much of law you must know. that there are 4 modes of taking of cognizance of an offence by a court. 1. On the basis of a complaint constituting such facts which will disclose offence. 2. On the basis of a police report which we call popularly as charge sheet. 3. On the basis of information. And the 4th on the basis of knowledge. So it was being shown on the TV, it was being reported in the morning in the newspapers. Could the Chief Judicial Magistrate or the Metropolitan Magistrate not take cognizance of the offence? Do you require public interest litigation for this purpose? That shows that those who are supposed to be doing law, practicing law, applying law, both the sides, the bar and the bench, they have to be fully aware of the rights of the person, of the powers given to the judiciary at every level. Now you have heard that I underwent a course on gender and law in Warwick University. I recall sitting here, there was a lady, Professor Joanna. She used to find our class very difficult to control because we were all district judges. There were 3 female and 7 male. So if she put one question, there would be 10 answers. Because judges are really very difficult for them to agree together. The person who differ most, I think, as a class would be judges. One day she came. You are all now adult and I don't think any one of you is minor. She circulated a questionnaire on a small slip of paper and we read the question. You know, the question was, she first said that please divide yourself into partners, 5 groups out of the 10 persons. So we were all 5. The question was, please tell your partner your last sexual escapade with your partner or spouse. We read the question. We reread the question. We found the question so embarrassing we were unable to even lift our eyes and look at our friend. The whole class was silent. And when everybody becomes silent, time passes very difficult. So half a minute into 1 minute, 1 minute into 2 minutes, 3 minutes. She waited for about 5 minutes and then asked, what has gone wrong with all of you? You're all experienced people. You're very wise people. Till yesterday, if I asked one question, there would be 10 answers, and I have asked you today the simplest of the question. And the easiest of the question which could have been put to you, why are you having so much of difficulty in answering the question? He says, ladies and gentlemen, please bear in mind, when a woman of sexual assault appears before the court and asked to describe the incident of sexual assault, it is as painful as the sexual assault itself. And it was then that I was shaken. I recalled an observation which I had read in one of the research papers that a woman had said with regard to what happened in India in a rape case with her when she appeared as a witness. She said the way the questions were put, etc. She says it was far more embarrassing, rape itself, because the rape was committed within the confines of the hall. Here I was being raped in the public. And that's how all of us really got shaken. Because as a lawyer, and there was a time because the amendment had not been made in penal code those days. With the result, one of the courses open to a lawyer, which we utilize to full capacity, was that you rip her character into pieces. Today, of course, the law has made it very clear that character of a woman is irrelevant. Otherwise, prostitutes would not have any right to claim or allege commission of rape on her. As I began by saying that human rights do not depend on the law alone, you must also bear in mind that the norms of the society keep changing because the society is never static. And many times it may so happen that without any legislative change or amendment in the law, the norms of the society will make the law change itself. I'll give you a very, very rudimentary and very ordinary example, because we have fairly senior people sitting here. It is not a criticism of the doctors as a class, please don't misunderstand what I'm going to say. But there was a time when the doctors were regarded as demigods. I think you will recollect his childhood. Whatever they opined, whatever they said, whatever they suggested, whatever they prescribed, was their intent was never questioned. Their capacity, capability, their knowledge was never in question. Today also there are doctors, and plenty of doctors, far more than doctors which we had maybe 40 years, 50 years back. What happens today? I go to a doctor. He examines me, he puts some questions to me, he takes my answer, and then he suggests, please take your blood report, this report, that report, urine, etc., etc. I take this prescription. And looking at that, I start wondering, how much commission is he going to make? It's the same doctor who was demigod for the society, and today we are questioning his integrity, honesty, unconsciously. Though he may be very honest individually, but the society's outlook, society's concept, society's perception with regard to doctors has changed. Do you find any reflection of this change in the attitude or in the perception of the society on the law? Let me try to put across my point of view